For over 2 decades, the murders of Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls have haunted the world of hip-hop and pop culture. Two of the most influential artists of their time, gunned down in their prime, just 6 months apart. To this day, their cases officially remain unsolved. But is that the whole story? Are these murders truly destined to be cold cases forever? Or have we been closer to the truth than we think? Let's dive deep into the evidence, the theories, and the recent developments that suggest we might finally be getting some answers. The story begins on September 7, 1996. Tupac Shakur, a global icon, had just left the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. He was riding shotgun in a BMW driven by Death Row Records CEO, Suge Knight. As they stopped at a red light on Flamingo Road, a white Cadillac pulled up alongside them. A gunman fired multiple rounds into the car, hitting Tupac 4 times. 6 days later, the world lost a legend. Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead at the age of 25. Las Vegas police launched a massive investigation, but it was immediately plagued with problems. Key witnesses were hesitant to talk. The chaotic scene, the fear of retaliation, and the code of the streets created a wall of silence. One name that came up almost immediately was Orlando "Baby Lane" Anderson. Earlier that night, at the MGM Grand, Tupac and his entourage were seen on security footage attacking Anderson, a member of the rival Southside Compton Crips gang. This was reportedly retaliation for an earlier incident where a Death Row affiliate had his chain snatched. The motive seemed clear, a street beef that escalated into a deadly revenge plot. Anderson was a prime suspect, and he was questioned by police, but he always denied any involvement. He was never charged. Tragically, any chance of getting a direct confession from him was lost in 1998 when he was killed in an unrelated gang shootout. For years, the official investigation stalled. The prevailing theory was that Orlando Anderson pulled the trigger, but without concrete evidence or a confession, the case went cold. Then, just 6 months after Tupac's murder, tragedy struck again. On March 9, 1997, Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G, was in Los Angeles for the Soul Train Music Awards. He was promoting his upcoming album, prophetically titled Life After Death. After leaving a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum, Biggie was riding in the passenger seat of a Suburban. While stopped at a red light, a dark Chevrolet Impala pulled up. A man in a suit and bow tie fired into the vehicle, hitting Biggie 4 times. He was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but was pronounced dead. He was only 24 years old. The similarities were chilling. Another superstar rapper, gunned down in a drive-by shooting while stopped at a red light. Immediately, speculation ran rampant that Biggie's murder was retaliation for Tupac's. This fueled the infamous East Coast versus West Coast hip-hop rivalry narrative, a media-driven frenzy that pitted Bad Boy Records against Death Row Records. Was this a war that had now claimed its 2 biggest generals? The LAPD's investigation into Biggie's death was even more complex and controversial than Vegas's. Theories swirled, involving everyone from Suge Knight to corrupt LAPD officers. One of the most prominent theories was put forward by retired LAPD Detective Russell Poole. He believed that Suge Knight, with the help of rogue cops affiliated with Death Row Records, had orchestrated Biggie's murder. Poole's primary suspect for the triggerman was a man named Amir Muhammad, an associate of a police officer named David Mack, who had ties to Suge Knight. Despite Poole's relentless efforts, his theories were largely dismissed by the LAPD, and he resigned in protest. For 2 decades, that's where the stories ended. 2 unsolved murders, shrouded in mystery, conspiracy theories, and a pervasive silence. It seemed like we would never get definitive answers. The cases became modern folklore, the subject of countless documentaries, books, and articles, each presenting their own version of the truth, but none leading to an arrest. But then, the silence started to break. The key came from an unlikely source, a man named Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Keefe D. is Orlando Anderson's uncle and a known member of the Southside Compton Crips. For years, he had been dropping hints in interviews, and even in his own memoir, Compton Street Legend. He claimed to have been in the white Cadillac on the night Tupac was shot. In a 2018 documentary, Keefe D., believing he was immune from prosecution due to a proffer agreement with federal authorities in a separate case, laid it all out. He claimed he was in the passenger seat of the Cadillac and passed the gun to his nephew, Orlando Anderson, who was in the back seat and did the shooting. He said it was revenge for the MGM Grand beatdown. This was a bombshell. It wasn't a theory, it was a confession from someone who was there. For years, despite this public confession, nothing happened. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department seemed to take no action. Many fans and observers were frustrated. Why was a man who confessed to being an accomplice to murder allowed to walk free and even profit from his story? The answer to that question came in September 2023, nearly 27 years to the day after Tupac was killed. In a stunning development, Las Vegas police arrested 60-year-old Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. They indicted him on one count of murder with a deadly weapon with a gang enhancement. The grand jury indictment alleged that Davis was the on-ground, on-site commander who ordered the death of Tupac Shakur. Prosecutors are arguing that even if Keefe D. didn't pull the trigger himself, under Nevada law, he can be charged with murder for providing the weapon and ordering the hit. His own words, spoken so freely in interviews and his book, became the cornerstone of the prosecution's case against him. Keefe D. has pleaded not guilty, and his trial is expected to be one of the most high-profile legal battles in recent history. For the first time in nearly 3 decades, there is a real possibility of a conviction in Tupac Shakur's murder. So, where does this leave the murder of Biggie Smalls? The arrest of Keefe D. has inevitably renewed calls for the LAPD to take a fresh look at Christopher Wallace's case. While the two murders are legally separate, they are forever linked in the public consciousness. Will the breakthrough in Vegas pressure L.A. to re-examine the evidence and the theories that have been circulating for years? The theory involving Suge Knight and corrupt LAPD officers has never fully gone away. Key figures like former Detective Greg Kading, in his book and documentary, Murder Rap, presented a different theory. Kading's investigation led him to believe that Sean Diddy Combs, then CEO of Bad Boy Records, had offered $1 million to a Crip member to kill both Tupac and Suge Knight. After Tupac was killed, Kading alleges Suge Knight retaliated by paying a member of the rival Bloods gang, a man named Wardell Poochie Faust, to murder Biggie. Poochie Faust was himself killed in 2003, taking another potential confession to the grave. It's a tangled web of accusations and counter-accusations, street codes, and alleged police corruption. What's clear is that the truth has been obscured by layers of fear and secrecy. The arrest of Keefe D. proves that even after decades, a case is never truly cold. New evidence can emerge, and people can decide to talk. The murders of Tupac and Biggie are not just hip-hop history. They are a part of American history. They represent a tragic loss of talent and a failure of the justice system for many years. Keefe D's upcoming trial is a pivotal moment. A conviction could finally bring a measure of justice for Tupac Shakur and his family. And perhaps, just perhaps, it could be the catalyst that finally unravels the mystery of who killed Biggie Smalls. These cases may not be unsolved forever after all. The final chapters of this tragic story might just be getting written right now. Thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on these developments? Do you think we'll see justice for Biggie too? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe to Cold Case Chronicles, and let us keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. See you next time.